Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering you're not the only kind of human alive. Another human species is standing right in front of you. They talk, they laugh, they love their children, they make tools, they dream, they look different, but they are just as human as you. As unbelievable as that sounds, your ancestors lived in exactly that world. They shared the earth with other human species, each one fighting the same brutal planet to stay alive. Yet today, every one of those humans is gone. Only your kind remains. Which means the real question isn't just, what happened to them? It's, why are you the one still here? You, the last surviving kind of human. And the answer is one of the most extraordinary survival stories ever written. To feel how strange your loneliness is, you first have to meet the others, the other humans, the ones who are gone. Start with the most famous of them all, the Neanderthals. Picture someone shorter than you, but far stronger, wide-shouldered, barrel-chested, built from birth for the cold. A brain as big as yours, in some cases even bigger. They hunted enormous, dangerous animals up close, with spears, hand to hand. They made fine tools. They controlled fire. They cared for their injured and sick, and they buried their dead with care. They survived in Ice Age Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. Far longer, in fact, than your own species has even existed. These were not brutish cavemen. They were people, every bit as much as you. Now meet a ghost we barely knew existed, the Denisovans. We found them almost by accident, from a single finger bone in a cold Siberian cave. One tiny bone, and the DNA hidden inside it. It belonged to a girl from a human species no one had ever seen. We still have barely a handful of their bones at all. We know them mostly through the code they left inside living people today. A whole kind of human, known mostly from a fragment and a genetic echo. Then come the strangest of your lost relatives. On the island of Flores, in Indonesia, there once lived a human species barely a meter tall. Tiny bodies, small brains, yet skilled toolmakers and capable hunters. Scientists nicknamed them the hobbits. A real miniature kind of human, gone only tens of thousands of years ago. In the Philippines, another island species, Homo luzonensis. And in Africa, Homo naledi, small-brained, yet seemingly laying their dead deep inside a cave. And long before all of them, Homo erectus. The great traveler who walked out of Africa over 1 million years before you were ever possible. The first to truly master fire, and by far the longest surviving human species of all. Now line them all up in your mind. Neanderthals, Denisovans, the hobbits, Naledi, Erectus, and more. At least 9 different kinds of human spread out across the whole planet. Some tall, some tiny, some with huge brains, some small, all of them walking upright, all making tools, all, in the end, human. And here is the part that should stop you cold. Many of them were alive at the very same time, on the very same Earth. We are used to imagining human evolution as a straight line. One ape slowly standing up and becoming us. A neat, tidy march of progress. Forget that picture. It is wrong. Human evolution was never a ladder. It was a tangled, overgrown bush, branching, overlapping, endlessly messy. For most of the last few 100,000 years, the Earth quietly carried several different kinds of human at once. Picture that world. Your kind, Homo sapiens, rising in Africa. Neanderthals holding Europe. Denisovans spread across Asia. Hobbits on their island. Erectus lingering in the east. Different humans in different lands, all at the very same moment in time. Now imagine being one of them. You walk for weeks across unknown country, and the people you finally meet are not quite your own kind. Taller or shorter, heavier browed, speaking strangely, moving differently to you, human, but not your human. What do? Do you fight them, avoid them, trade with them? Your ancestors faced exactly that impossible choice, again and again. And we now know what, at least sometimes, happened. They didn't only fight, they didn't only run. Sometimes they fell in love, and sometimes, against all odds, they had children together. We know this because those children's DNA survived. In that same Siberian cave, scientists found a single bone from a girl whose mother was a Neanderthal and whose father was a Denisovan, a true first-generation child of 2 entirely different human species. Two kinds of human, meeting, mixing, making a daughter. And this was not a one-time accident. It happened often enough that the proof is still written inside us today. The lines between these humans were real. But they were never solid walls. For tens of thousands of years, the world belonged to many humans. And then, one by one, the others began to disappear. The disappearances did not happen all at once. They unfolded across vast stretches of time in different places. But the overall pattern is unmistakable. Take the Neanderthals, the best recorded of them all. They had ruled Europe and Western Asia for some 400,000 years. Then your kind arrived from Africa, around 45,000 years ago. Sapiens spread into Neanderthal lands, and within roughly 5,000 years, not a single Neanderthal was left. 5,000 years. After 400,000 years of thriving, they were gone in a geological blink. The Denisovans faded too. The hobbits of Flores vanished. Even Erectus, the great survivor, finally went silent. One by one, every other branch of the human family was cut, until, in the end, only yours remained. Now sit with the timing of it. For hundreds of thousands of years, many humans. Then your species spreads across the globe. And soon after, nearly everywhere it goes, the other humans quietly vanish. That timing is the central clue, and it raises an uncomfortable possibility. Did we do this? Did your ancestors somehow wipe out every other kind of human? The honest answer is, it is complicated, and it is one of the most debated questions in all of science. Because they met us and died is far too simple. The truth is almost certainly a tangle of many causes at once. So let's do what investigators do. Let's line up the suspects. Because the death of the other humans is the greatest cold case in history, and every suspect left fingerprints. Keep one thing in mind as we go. These were not weak, doomed creatures. They had survived ice ages, predators, and starvation for ages beyond all counting. Something tipped a balance that had held for hundreds of thousands of years. The question is what? There is no single confession, but there are 5 prime suspects. And the real truth is probably some part of all of them. Suspect 1, competition. When two species need the exact same things, they collide. The same prey, the same caves, the same rivers, and the same green valleys. Your ancestors and the Neanderthals wanted the same world, and there may not have been enough of it for both. Picture it as you. You return to your best hunting valley, and another kind of human is already there, eating your game, drinking your water, filling your warm, dry shelter. Every animal they take is one you do not. No war is even needed. Just two peoples reaching for the same food, and one of them slowly losing. Suspect 2, numbers. Sapiens seem to have lived in larger, more connected groups, more people, wider networks, far more trading of tools and ideas. The Neanderthals lived in smaller, more scattered bands, and small populations are fragile. A few bad years, a few lost hunters, a run of sickly children. In a tiny band, that is not a setback, it is an ending. You can be stronger, one-on-one, and still lose, simply because there are fewer of you. Suspect 3, climate. The Ice Age world lurched between brutal cold and sudden thaw. Europe in particular swung through savage, killing winters that lasted lifetimes. And some of those cold snaps line up disturbingly well with the final disappearance of the Neanderthals. A species clinging on in small numbers can be shoved clean off the edge by a few generations of unbearable weather. The planet itself may have been a suspect. Suspect 4, disease. When your ancestors came out of Africa, they may have carried sicknesses the other humans had never once met. New people so often bring new germs, and a population with no defense against a new disease can collapse with terrifying, unstoppable speed. You have seen this pattern in recorded history again and again. It may have played out, silent and invisible, 40,000 years ago. Suspect 5, assimilation. This one is the strangest, and perhaps the most likely. What if the other humans didn't all simply die? What if some of them were absorbed? Remember the interbreeding. Every time a Neanderthal had a child with a sapiens, that child far more often grew up inside the larger sapiens group. Generation after generation, the smaller population dissolves into the bigger one. Not killed, not beaten, blended away. Their blood kept flowing onward, but their separate kind quietly ended. Now look at your 5 suspects together: competition, numbers, climate, disease, assimilation. And notice something: they are not really rivals for the answer. They are accomplices. A smaller population, squeezed by a stronger competitor, battered by a collapsing climate, struck by unfamiliar disease, and then slowly absorbed, generation by generation, through its own children. Any one of these alone might not have been enough. All of them together were simply impossible to survive. The other humans were not destroyed by a single blow. They were worn down from every side at once. But that still leaves the deepest question of all. Why your kind? Why, out of all of them, did you come through? You were not the strongest. The Neanderthals were stronger. You were not the toughest in the cold. They were built for it. You were not. Your brain wasn't even the biggest. Theirs matched yours, or beat it. So what did you have that they did not? The answer may not be strength at all. It may be connection. Your ancestors built bigger webs of people. Distant bands traded with distant bands. Tools and ideas traveled hundreds of miles. A good invention in one group could spread to many. Knowledge piled up across the generations, instead of dying with each small band. Think of it as the first network. No single sapiens was smarter than a single Neanderthal. But sapiens together were something entirely new. And there may have been more to it still. Symbols, art, stories, the power to imagine things that do not exist, a spirit, a god, a tribe of thousands all bound by a single shared idea, an enemy beyond the next hill, or a plan for the coming winter. That power to imagine and to share the imagining. Let huge numbers of strangers cooperate as one. And cooperation, on that scale, is a kind of quiet superpower. Your ancestors may also have simply been more flexible. When the prey changed, they changed. They fished, trapped birds, ground plants, invented without end. They could remake their entire way of life whenever the world shifted under them. Strength is wonderful when the world stays the same. But the Ice Age world never stayed the same. And in a world that keeps changing, the adaptable will always outlast the merely powerful. That, far more than muscle, may be why you are here. Not because you were the toughest kind of human, but because you were the most connected, the most imaginative, the most adaptable. The survivor was not the strongest branch. It was the most flexible one. And now, the part that turns this whole story back onto you. The other humans did not vanish completely. When your ancestors mixed with them, small fragments of their DNA passed quietly into your line, and those fragments never left. If your roots lie outside Africa, roughly 2% of your entire genome is Neanderthal. If your family comes from parts of Asia or the Pacific, you may carry pieces of the Denisovans too. Stop and feel the weight of that. Inside your body, right now, are scraps of code from humans who went extinct 40,000 years ago. Their genes still shape your immune system, your skin, perhaps even how you sleep at night. A lost species still quietly at work inside you. So they are not entirely gone. They live on, scattered, in the bodies of the species that outlasted them, in you. You are not just the last kind of human. You are a living museum of all the others. The only survivor of a family that once filled the earth, carrying their faint ghosts in your blood, in every cell. So the next time you stand in a crowd, remember that it was almost a very different scene. There could have been many kinds of human here. Tall ones, tiny ones, heavy-browed ones, strangers who were somehow still your cousins. Instead, there is only you, only us. The last branch left on a tree that once held 9. We did not win because we were the strongest. We won because we connected, imagined, adapted, and endured. You are what survived, and the others are still here, whispering inside you.